All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I just want to welcome all of you here tonight. I think since today is Tuesday, that means we have 2 weeks before the general election. No, Wednesday? Okay. I was just checking. Today is Wednesday. So that means you have 13 days, if the math is correct, before the general election takes place. Now, we are having the most extraordinary general election. You can concentrate on the individual problems that each of us has, and there are plenty of those problems. Unemployment is one problem. The cleanup after the hurricane is another problem. Roads in various areas, those are all problems. When I talk about unemployment, there are two groups in particular that I think about. The 3,500 that are being put on the permanent and pensionable, and those people who are part of the government's empowerment program. And people walk up to us in the street and say, what's going to happen to us? I've been working for so many years, and I'm not yet on the permanent and pensionable. And my answer is, if the PLP is elected to office, you have nothing to concern yourself about, because it's the PLP's leader who announced last year that the 3,500 people who are not permanent and pensionable are going to be put on the permanent and pensionable, and they're doing that. When the F&M leader was challenged on this, he refused to say what they will do. But we know what they did the last time they came to office. They fired people from the platform the same night they arrived. So if you want to protect people in that position, then it's the PLP you got to vote for. That's our message, and that happens with the people going on the permanent and pensionable, and that means the people in the empowerment program. So I say there are lots of individual problems, and I'm dedicated to help solve those individual problems. But right now, there are some overarching issues which we have to deal with. We have never been, since 1972, when those associated with the F&M actually tried to kill the people in the PLP in 1972. We have not been through such a nasty and slanderous campaign as this campaign is now. And you know, Obama's wife said, when they go low, we go high. But it may be a situation where when they go low, we may have to go lower. Because we cannot allow a group of gangsters who are associated with foreign interest to take over the Bahamas. So if you have any individual problems and all the rest of that, the bottom line is, who is going to stand up for Bahamians in this country? Last week, when I spoke on a platform, one of the points I made was, you have what you call the suspicious six who are running for the F&M. 3 who used to work for Sarkis Ismailian, one who's running in South Beach, the one who's running in Freetown, and the one who's running in Mount Moriah. So those 3. Mount Moriah, South Beach, and Freetown. All associated with Sarkis Ismailian, who bankrupted his company twice, rescued by the Bahamas government twice, and is bitter because he failed in his development and is now wanting to blame the PLP, to the point where you have the leader of the F&M saying that Bahama is a mirage, or it doesn't exist, it's phony, it's false. And he made a serious mistake by not showing up as the leader of the Free National Movement, the main party in the country, to welcome those 1,700 young Bahamians who were working at that facility. It was a lousy thing to do for a national leader, but that's what we're faced with. So that's the suspicious six, half of the suspicious six, who tied with Ismailian. And then you have a bitter billionaire who's involved in a property fight with one of his neighbors in Lyford Key, who the House of Assembly was told funneled $8 million in the space of a couple of months through Fred Smith's so-called environmental organization called Save the Bays. And the whistle was blown when we found out that another $15 million was about to be put through the account. And we warned people about this. So you got three who associated with him. You got the one down, the F&M candidate down in Long Island. You've got the F&M candidate up in Grand Bahama. That's two of them. And there's a third. So they're all connected to this man, Bacon, who is funneling this money through them. So three on one side, three on the next side. And they are pumping unprecedented sums of money. And the thing about it is it appears it's going through Fred Smith's accounts. And he's not been shy about saying it. Last week, he published a videotape in which he said, yes, I'm doing it. And then said, if you want some of my money, why don't you ask me, talking to me? I'm the immigration minister. And when I was in Exuma, the people said that's bribery, attempting to bribe the immigration minister, because right now he has something before the immigration minister which requires to pass this stuff around. Any of this stuff that comes to me, I delete it immediately. Delete it immediately. I'm not helping them spread their propaganda. The other day, one of them, who was helped, the PLPs in this area felt sorry for him, came to me, said, oh, you got to give him a job, you got to help him because he's doing bad. Even help pay his rent. Then he turns around the other day, comes in here putting up F&M posters, and then wants to, with his guilty conscience, talking about, he respected me, so on and so forth, and making a bunch of noise in here. Let me tell you something, because we ran into same crew down, another fella down in Dorset Street. Don't mind me and the way I look, right? Noise don't bother me. That don't mean nothing to me. You could say any foolishness you wish. We are going to win this election, and we're going to win it vote by vote. And these unethical crooks and gangsters who are associated with the Free National Movement, they know what to do. We can't use the words in here tonight. They know what to do. I mean, it is simply outrageous. We are having a general election, an election to decide who the government is going to be. But they're trying to create a situation like the end of the world is coming. The end of the world isn't coming. Only them believe the end of the world is coming. The end of the hours. Exactly. It's just a whole lot of foolishness. Every week is some nonsense they're spinning. And now I don't want to interrupt this. I don't want to interrupt this. I want to finish every thought I have tonight, because this is the last opportunity I'm going to have to say some of these things. Right? And I want it to be clear what our campaign is. The PLP has always stood up for Bahamians, right? The organization is not perfect. Its leaders aren't perfect. But let me ask you this question. How is it that the F&M, the PLP, the DNA, all grow up in this country? We go to the same churches, go to the same school, we're all family with one another. How is it that all the crooks in the PLP and the F&M has no crooks? How's that? How's that possible? How's that possible? And they get up on the stage, the PLP is this, the PLP is. The only person in the last 5 years convicted of a bribery offense of a government official is the F&M. So the F&M, no PLP has been convicted of any offense of crookedness. Don't bring this foolishness to me. The leader of the F&M talking about what Shane Gibson must do or what Fitzgerald must do. He sat in cabinet, gave rent to himself, Didn't disclose it to the Prime Minister. He resigned? Did he resign? Served it right out. Still collecting the money today. It's just a bunch of phoniness. Just a bunch of phoniness, running on with a whole lot of rubbish and nonsense. I was talking about Brent Simonek and Dionisio de Aguilar. One declares $156 million net worth, right? $156 million. The last time he did a disclosure, his net worth was $56 million. So since 2011, I think, which is the last time the disclosure, he made $100 million. $100 million. And then he's campaigning saying the PLP is running a bad economy. And he made $100 million during the time of the PLP. Commonwealth Bank that he owns declared a dividend of $57 million 2 weeks ago in profit. And most of that is government workers giving their salary to him in the bank. And if you want to know what he's about, what he's about, 2 weeks ago, he gets in the paper, says, oh, the Bahamas government shouldn't be building a post office down in the back there. What they should be is renting from him. Now, he isn't even in the government yet, but he's trying to figure out ways to get more money. How much money do you want? How much money do you want? Let me tell you how much this fellow makes, right? His disclosure says that he makes he doesn't have a salary, but he gets $6 million in securities income. That means from all of his investments, he collects a check of $6 million a year. That's $500,000 a month, $16,000 a week. That's what he makes. Tax-free, because there ain't no VAT on securities income. Nothing. No income tax, no customs duty, no nothing. So that's all he does is he puts that in the bank, $6 million. What does he give to charity? You ever heard him give scholarships to kids going to school? What does he do with it? What does he do with it? Dionisio de Aguilar, he declares a net income of net assets of $27 million. And he's going around saying the PLP is running a bad economy. So they're trying to run a trick on people. But in one sense, I don't have a fear so much of Brent Simonek and Dionisio de Aguilar because they're Bahamians. And we could fight amongst ourselves as Bahamians. But what we have to be concerned about is when these rich foreigners are pouring money into the FNM in order to get the government. And it's difficult to fight. If you looked at the Tribune this morning, looked at the Freeport News, looked at the Nassau Guardian, they had these big, massive ads every day. Those ads cost sometimes $16,000 a pop to put in the newspaper. Those aren't cheap ads. And they're just running them every day, every day, every day. What they spending this money for? What is in the House of Assembly so much? You know what the salary of a member of Parliament is? $28,000. That's your salary. And Brent Simonek, who is made last year $6 million in securities income, wants a job for $28,000 a year? What do you figure is in that? What do you figure is in that? And then I go, as we're going around from house to house, the level of poverty, the environment, the level of suffering that we have to address. The people in Dorset Street don't seem to appreciate that I was not the representative for that area.
Thank you very much.
I was not the representative for that area. I had coming in there, they're talking about, oh, you all did nothing around here. The PLP wasn't the representative for that area. The representative for that area was Hubert Chipman, who was F&M. But anybody who came from that area to my office, we treated them as if they were part of Fox Hill. And the reason they're back in Fox Hill, why? because we wanted the area to be back one. So the whole area is now Fox Hill. And we're going to start with the roads and cleaning up all the rest of it. And I really feel very sorry for those people there, because when I walk through the area and I see how all the roads are unpaved and the garbage is uncollected and the trees that need to be brought down, I said, what did these people do? And Ingram took those people out of the constituency in 1997 because he wanted to defeat me here in Fox Hill in 1997. Deliberately did it. And those people have suffered no representation. F&M paid no attention to those people in there, none whatsoever. And God help us, if the F&M takes over again, they'll be in double jeopardy, because, you know, we're trying to get the government, we're going to use the resources to try and fix the place up, and then the 10th of May comes and people do foolishness, putting these F&M fellas back in power, and guess what will happen again down the road there? So I'm saying to you, I know there are individual problems, lots of individual problems, but I'm saying we cannot afford to let this government go into the hands of these people. These people. That means we're going backwards. They talk about it's the people's time. 1967 was the people's time. The 10th of January, 1967. Majority rule in this country. That's what the PLP brought to this country, and we have always acted for the majority of the people, regardless of race, regardless of creed, doesn't matter what it was. You know, we worked for the Bahamian people. That's what we did. And we always have to call out people like this Fred Smith fella, who every opportunity he gets denigrates this country, talking bad about this country, running off to foreigners and saying all kinds of things about the country, and trying to buy people off by spending money, and these phony organizations that he's got behind him. I'm saying, do not be fooled by this. Do not be fooled by this. And here's what we have to do. Everyone has to turn up on election day and vote. Don't mind these people and their noise. Don't worry about that. Ignore that. Go to the polls, vote. That's what you have to do. As Obama said, vote. Don't complain, just vote. And make sure the Progressive Liberal Party is re-elected to office. That is most important. Now, the first thing that's coming up, they say, is the police vote. And then, or the advance poll. And those of us who are the poll workers. Now, I understand they predicted, well, the police aren't going to support us because no promotions and the money and, you know, and then they say the same thing to defend. I don't know how they can predict what anybody is going to vote, right? All I know is that every Bahamian, this is not about, you know, whether you got your promotion, whether you got your salary. This election is about whether you are going to support a political party that supports Bahamians or support a political party that's selling out to foreigners. That's what this is about. Is the party going to protect your interest, or is it going to sell out to foreigners? Today, I think the HMBS Nassau arrived from Holland, where it was constructed as one of the boats for the Defense Force. Let's see if they carry that in the newspaper this morning. Tomorrow morning. Let's see if they carry that. All they is just one steady diet of nonsense and false scandal and all the rest of it. Keep blinders on. Keep moving forward. As Lumumba would say, forward ever, backward never. We are not going back. And so we have to put paid to Fred Smith. We have to put paid to what I call, again, the foreign national movement and their foreign friends and all the money that they're getting from them. You know, they're talking about donations given. First of all, there's no law here that says you can't take donations for charitable causes in your constituency. And if they say that this fellow out at Life at Key that they're trying to pin on us gave money, what has he gotten for it? Absolutely nothing. He ain't got the lease. He's still in court fighting, and on and on and on. Nothing to show for it. So where's the corruption? Just made up, just nonsense, just foolishness, absolute foolishness. At all times, the Progressive Liberal Party acted with probity, with all of these things, that's the party you support. And that's the party I'm asking you to go out and fight for. It's the only way. And, you know, they say the young people aren't, but when I go to these things, I see lots of young people around. Lots of young people around. And that's what this is for. We are protecting this country for them. It's for your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren to make sure they have a country. And you see all the work that's being done here? You know, the park is being done. You know, this crew, F&M crew down there shouting out about, you know, you wait till the election to fix the park. So I thought this, you know, I went in the house, they come up with that foolishness. I said, what you want me to do, stop? You want me to stop? You know, what kind of fool is that, right? The money is available. It's legitimate money. The money wants to spend. The government wants to spend the money. The park needs upgrading. What you want me to do? Just upgrade the park. You don't have to go on it if you don't want to go on it. You know, you could stay off it. I mean, you know, it's just one set of stupidity after the next. And I wonder if these people actually think of the things that they say. You know. But we can show them. We're going to put one, as Mother Pratt would say, one cut behind on this lady in here. She can know. She can know. You know, for 5 years, it's me alone sitting on the front bench at every church, right? Now you know, now you can't, you know, oh, I grew up with you, you know, Auntie Sue and Mama Suki and how I used to go to the shop. And all kind of stuff, right? And you know, people are saying, well, where you just come from? Where you just come from? You know, all of a sudden you're my good friend, but you never used to speak to me when I was a child. You know, you didn't know me. So don't come with that. The question is, who is the best representative for this area? That's the question. And you know, they can tell you, I have never, I ask for people's support, but when I become the member of parliament for this area, I have never asked anybody whether you voted F&M or PLP. Never, ever, right? It's just a question of, can I help? Can I help? That's all. Can I help? That's what the PLP says. It's for people. And the PLP is the people's choice. Is the people's choice. So ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we have 13 days or so to go. We've got a tough road because it's not going to stop. They can keep coming with one set of garbage after the next. But all I'm saying is, put plugs in your ears, blinders on your eyes, move forward, and let's get this victory in the ballot box. You have to show up on the day, make sure you mark the X correctly, and then let's sit back for the count. And Frank Edgecombe told me once, you know, I hear people talking all these numbers about what they can do and what they're not going to do, right? We only need to win by one. Only need to win by one. So that's what we're trying. And you know, when we win, if it's by one, you'll come to me and say, I was the one.